the second ever two-time winner of the East Coast Wrestling Association Super 8 tournament. First being Christopher Daniels to win it twice. What is the weight of winning that prestigious tournament, not once, but twice?
So Christopher Daniels is one of the building blocks, one of the foundations of independent wrestling as a whole. You know, when I came in 2008, late 2008, everybody was watching the early 2000s. Everybody was watching the Christopher Daniels, the AJ Styles, the Samoa Joes, Abyss, you know, that early TNA era. Or people that helped set that up, really Ring of Honor, if you want to go before then. Ring of Honor and guys like Nigel McGuinness and Bryan Danielson. So that's one thing is I'm so grateful for is when I came in, there were so many types of different wrestlers to look at, to study, to watch, and to pick certain things from, you know, and incorporate it in your own way. But it's like, all right, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You can help define yourself by watching others excel in the craft that you love. So that was all very important to me. And Christopher Daniels won it in 2000 and then won it again in 2004. I won it in 2022 and then in 2024. So I actually won it in half the time, which is an interesting little tidbit there. But I mean, Christopher Daniels, of all the wrestlers that have competed in this tournament, I mean, some of the biggest names in professional wrestling history, I'm not talking about independent wrestling history, in pro wrestling history, have competed in this tournament. Their name is signed on a paper somewhere with their year in the Super 8. And few have been able to win it like that. For Christopher to be the first person and for me to be the only other person, and then for me to have wrestled him at Night of Legends in Newark, Delaware, defending the ECWA Heavyweight Championship, and then retaining it over him, defeating him, pinning him, to really supplant him as the premier Super 8 tournament competitor. Which is kind of like a changing of the guard. It's like a passing of the torch type of moment, if you will. And that's a huge torch to carry. It's Christopher Daniels, but however much of the flame I can get, I'll take. But in all seriousness, that was, again, you want to talk about checkpoints. That was a learning experience that I'll never forget. The things that I learned in terms of moving in there, thinking differently, thinking quicker, or not just quicker, but thinking quickly in a unique environment. Different escapes, different positions. There was so much to learn just from doing the dance with Christopher Daniels, but he learned some things too. And that was a tremendous accolade. Honestly, I think the highest accolade of my career in terms of historically, because of all the times that I read that magazine. I would read that magazine when I was younger in the Barnes & Noble. But really it was Borders before Barnes & Noble. And reading the magazines and seeing Christopher Daniels and seeing, you know, the rankings, because there was always rankings. And even if I didn't get to watch the program, I would know who was ranked in what way. But Chris was always ranked near the top. So to get to share that distinction, that honor, I mean, it's something you can't take away. You can't take away. And you could say, oh, the Super 8 now isn't, you know, what it was then and this and that, and nothing is the same as what it once was. But the thing about the Super 8 is the Super 8 is a tournament that continued every single year, never took an off year. Most tournaments, most of these things, they disappear. They skip a year, they skip 2 years. ECWA is the longest running professional wrestling promotion in the independents. We're talking 1967. So the lineage, the history, people that have been champions that are now on TV, like a Christian Cage. This is the history that I'm a part of now. People that I watch wrestle, people that are my peers now. These are people that have been a part of this history. They have helped paint the culture and paint the canvas of ECWA. So for me to steer that ship, no matter what point you're steering it, no matter what people's thoughts of it are. And what's great about it is all I hear are great things about ECWA. And all I hear are people talking about kind of bringing that old feeling back, because that's what that building does. That's what the Jersey dugout and that feeling is. Vignettes and just old school, different flavors of ice cream. But it's very, very old school wrestling. And I thrive, I shine, and I got to have 2 Super 8 tournament victories out of that, a legendary, accolade for my career, or 2 trophies that I hold in the utmost regard, with so much history. And that's where the victories come in. Success in historical achievements.